sometimes you don't need to change everything. Maybe you just need to stick to the fundamentals, the things that don't change. Creating constant stuff in a sea of changing algorithms, because we know that algorithms change, but humans don't.
I feel like you're going like more into like a Sahil Bloom, Justin Welsh, like that, like almost like very high authority, very massive audience, but it's like so simple business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's also, I'm trying to use their angle too. Like, it's all about freedom. It's about not working anything. Because I realized, bro, I was kind of going against logic. Likes and cash, believe that. But, you know, a lot of people, when I say that, they comment, but you need likes to make cash. So that's kind of a weird thing. So now I'm like, no, like, focus more on cash than likes. It's not that likes are unimportant. So now I'm entering my Justin Welsh arc. And it's all about freedom and just having a lifestyle business. And that content actually resonates way more. So, you know, I'm a man that's simple. I'm a simple man. You're
Gojo after he unlocks everything.
That's right. Spoilers, by the way, if you're watching Jujutsu Kaisen. But now I'm entering that arc in which, you know, this one makes more money, so I'm just going to do it. I work with a few artists. I don't want to call them, like, I call them artists in a way that they're very passionate about what they do. So I was working on this offer 2 hours ago. This guy's that thought about, we're going to create the best version of yourself and you're going to feel like you're transcending and stuff. I'm like, okay, like what we really do here is we're selling like less stress, correct? They're like, yes. So I find that if you're an artist, maybe this happens to you sometimes, it's hard to dumb down stuff because you're like, you don't want to sell yourself cheap. You don't want to look cheap. You don't want people to think that there's another marketing thing. So you purposely complicate your marketing. And I just think that hurts you. So a lot of people that have stuff that only they understand just because they're an artist. Well, that's cool if you're an artist, but you're also a business person. You have to dumb shit down so people actually buy them. So actually a lot of the work I do with offers is making them dumber. And it's very profitable.
I like that. That's an art in itself.
Yeah. You make stuff easier, like easier to digest. And the big thing is in making it on like what do people get instead of what they do. So I'll give you an example. I was working on this offer about like making your lifestyle better and like reaching your, you know, better life. And the offer was 2 weekly calls plus this training plus this much levels of access. And I thought, and I asked this person, we're live on the call, I'm like, do I have permission to be blunt? He's like, yes. Do I have permission to delete things? Yes. Okay, we're deleting all this shit. And we're going to remove most of your stress from your life in 90 days. And I could tell that they didn't like it. I could tell that they were uncomfortable with it. But sometimes you just got to simplify stuff, man. So just, like, there's a saying I like, you write with your eraser. And a lot of the things I do is I just write with my eraser. I do less, which is now I'm trying to coin this term, OPAD, you know, OMAD, 1 meal a day. Now with OPAD, 1 post a day. Making 1 post a day is enough to build a good business. So I'm trying to prove that point. Tell you how that goes.
I liked, I was on LinkedIn and I saw your content, I don't know what you'd call it, your content strategy, where it was like the breakdown of you would basically take the call with your program and then you'd break that down and have it and be 7 of this, 7 of that, 7 of this. And it was like, it looks so simple. It made it, usually when, cause you're basically like a 1-man content team, right?
No, it's actually like 3.
Okay, well, you made it seem very simple to put out volume. How I would put it.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in making things look easy. Like if you can make stuff look easy, people will pay you to do it. And which is why I kind of like your case studies. I referred to this case study maybe like 3 or 4 times in this pod. You had a case study that had no value. And you know, it goes against the common knowledge, right? Give more value, make more money. I don't believe that's true anymore, but you had that. And your case study was just, these are my clients' results. This is how much money we made. This is month 1, month 2, and month 3. You didn't like I couldn't take that and like make money with it, but I could take that. I understand that you can make money with it. And I think if that's the goal of the case study, you were doing it right. And that's just marketing.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I've released that same case study with actual value embedded into it. and it did way worse in terms of
What?
generation. It got way worse. I got no calls booked from it with more value. Basically, I put like a content strategy in it and like a lead gen strategy in it, and then also on top of having all of the other stuff that was already there, and it got no book calls. I was like, I think it's just like the whole point of a case study. If you think about what a real case study is in the corporate world, all a case study is there for is to show what result happened from what. Like, so it's like we did Twitter lead gen and we created this result. That's what a case study is. It's to prove that it exists. A case study is not there to be like, let's give away all of our tactics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like when I create content now, I'm big on, I don't want to give any tactics away, but I'm okay with giving the strategy away. Yeah. So let me give you an example. The 2021 JK would have written this one case study differently. So a client had a win. One of the components for that win was hiring a DM appointment setting team. Previous JK would have posted, where did we find them? How much did we pay them? And what was the script? Today's JK would say, we hired a DM appointment setter team because when you hire someone to do the lead generation for you, you free up space. When you free up space and you free up time, you can work on other areas of the business. A lot of business owners don't grow because they're basically doing the little things instead of focusing on the big picture. If you want to focus on the big picture and start making big money, DM me cash, and I'll send you the details. Stuff like that. Because you want to make people feel, you don't want to make people do. And your case study made me feel like a little bit of jealousy. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money. I want to do that. So you want to make people feel, not make people do. And that's a crucial mistake, I think, sometimes people make on marketing. A side example on this is, I don't know, I don't want to say his name, but I'll tell you about what he does. He's a language coach, like as in an accent coach. So a pain point for English as a second language people like me is I actively try very hard to hide my accent. Like that's something I actually work on. And he helps people like that. Now, his content was a lot about, this is how you pronounce the TH sound. This is how you pronounce the R sound. But if you think about it, you look at that and you want to do. It doesn't make you feel anything. Whereas I think, and what I'm going to tell him, is to change his stuff to, when you switch to English, you're more confident, more deals are thrown your way. One of my clients got asked, oh, you were born in Thailand? I didn't even notice that you weren't a native. I thought you were from California. And that's what you want to make people feel, you know? Not do, but feel.
That's a good offer. That offer would be a really good angle if you just pitch it hard on business. So like, this is the market. This is how much bigger the market is for English speaking versus whatever your target market's language is or something like that, and kind of show the differences and with graphs and huge bar graph differences, and like, you need to learn English because you'll make this much more money, and the average sale is this much in in English, and the average sale in Spanish is this much. Like,
Exactly.
Marketing in that, and you just target entrepreneurs who are already doing business but in Spanish.
Yeah, not even tactics. Like, I'm not telling you how to improve your accent. Exactly. I'm just telling you what it will do for you, which is why, bro. Let me tell you the story about a porn star. That is going to be the little part of the video. That's how we're going to start the video. So there you go. That's the intro. This is a story about a porn star. So one of my friends, Luis, back home, we started our online business journey at the same time. I was creating content and he was creating websites. One day he calls me up and he goes, JK, I got a new client and this dude's a porn star. I'm like, what? Yes, a porn star wants me to create a website for him. I'm like, what for? I mean, isn't he getting enough traffic? It's like, no, but he's like, he wants to sell courses. I'm like, okay, I understand. And I thought, wouldn't it be such a sick testimonial wall not to have any testimonials of dudes, because that was the target market, dudes, but to only have testimonials of girls, which is the customer's girlfriends. Like, this guy was the best I've had. This dude was amazing. I don't know what you did to my boyfriend, but he's a different man. Stuff like that. That would be the best testimonial wall in history, bro. No. I was thinking about that. Or even like this fitness coach. He's all about like family oriented. Like, he's not about like bro fitness. It's more like you want to have longevity for your family and that kind of stuff. So I told them, what if you made the testimonials where like you ask your clients not to record the testimonials themselves, but to ask their little kids, as in, hey, are you like happy that now you can play soccer with daddy at night? Or like, are you happy that maybe I can like, we can play stuff together, and I can like, I can jump with you and do your little activities. And I thought that if he got the kids to do that, or the wife to do that, that would be more powerful than a transformation picture, in my opinion. Show, don't tell.
I had when I had a personal trainer in Bali, something that he always did that I thought was really smart is whenever we had our call to talk about results, he would ask me, what is your girlfriend saying? He'd ask my girlfriend saying, like, what does she think? What does she think? Like, what is she saying about this? And I'm like, and I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, well, she did say this. So she did say this. And like that positive reinforcement of all I'm working out for is what my girlfriend will think about me was so much better than like, oh, work out to look good.
Damn. Oh, dude, that's a smart move.
Good retention hack.
I like it. Do you have any other little tricks like that you have seen or you have tried that impact business positively? I have one if you don't.
I have another one for the fitness niche that I'll put, and then I'll let you go. So like one that I have for the fitness niche, and maybe this is me as a consumer, that the reason I noticed it is like what hits me when it comes to fitness content, if you're a personal trainer posting, or if you're a fitness coach posting on Twitter, is when they post good food that I like, but they post it in a way where they're like, you can eat this without cutting it out. Because like for me, it's like, I love pizza and I love chocolate. So whenever I see these coaches, there's a couple of coaches that do this. Whenever I see a fitness coach post, they're eating like a whole pint of chocolate ice cream, or they're like, I eat pizza every day, I'm like, it hurts. Like I feel it in my soul, because I'm like, I already eat pizza often, but I'm not that jacked. So I'm like, how the hell is he eating pizza and he's jacked? So like that is it's like basically reverse engineering the needs the desires of the audience and turning it into content, and it just piques interest. But it's not like you're not posting like, my client eats pizza. It's like, no, here I am eating fucking pizza, and I'm jacked.
Right. Right. And then you just drop tears above your chicken breast and salad. You're like, this is miserable. I hate it.
Maybe about day 4 of the meal prep that I made last week.
Do you meal prep actually?
No, I've done it before. Not for me.
That's your thing?
I'll stay for
that. I'll tell you 2 things that one that was an accident and one that I actually did. So one time I posted all the testimonials folders of my clients. So I said, the caption was, it took me an hour, but I finally put all my testimonials and I ordered them in folders. So that showed that I had a bunch of testimonials. And 2, I could show all the niches that we work in. So, because some people just don't know what niches you work in, right? I know some of the ones that you work in, and they're like, some are not obvious, right? Some are like, I wouldn't have imagined.
100%.
Yeah, so that was one like sneaky little thing. It's kind of like when Logan Paul and KSI. Oh, we can talk about the Dylan Dennis fight, by the way. But it's kind of when Logan, he made people throw prime drinks at them, even though they were empty. Because then he said, like it was a scandal, like, oh, their own fans went against them and now they hate prime. But he's like, no, we actually planned that so we would get more free publicity. Yeah. He's a smart dude, man.
What you said makes a lot of sense too, because I've actually had this maybe like 2 or 3 times in the last quarter of prospects coming on the calls, basically very cold, and they had no idea. Like they were like, I'm interested, but I don't know if it'll work for us. And then when I basically show them other clients that are in similar niches, they're like, oh, if it works in that niche, it might work for me. So they don't know. So that's something I could definitely improve in my marketing, but it always works on it's exactly what you said. Like they might not know that I'm working with a niche close to them. So for you to have all of your testimonials like that, it's pretty much the same thing.
Dude, I don't know if I'm tripping, but your audio just got really bad. Did you switch your mic?
No, it's the same mic.
Oh no, we're good. We're good now. But for some point it went back. Okay, we're on niches. Yes, James Kemp taught me this. Well, might have been tacky, but he said, we are so busy creating content that we forget about the context. Like we tell people this client went from this result to B result, or like this from A to B, but we would benefit a lot from providing context. What niche? Where were they? What were they struggling with? So that people can identify themselves with the person. Like as a human, you look at things and you immediately want to relate them to you. You know, there's a war going on in wherever, like Israel or like Ukraine. And then you think, kind of automatically, you don't really know it, but you think about, will that impact me? How is that tailored to me? So when you give people not only content, but context, that was a strategy, this was the point, these were the struggles, this is what he did, that was his age, that was his follower count, that was his email list size. You give people kind of this room to be open to what you're going to sell them next, because there's a lot of content, not a lot of context. So now I'm making more effort as in telling people how many followers they have, what niche they were in, what were their actual struggles. And I found that actually just telling the truth in those case studies works exceptionally well. Like it's really, really well. It's just telling people what's going on and they like it. Telling the truth is a good strategy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I actually wanted to ask you, what part of at the moment, what would you say the part of the content process do you enjoy the most? Or do you hate making content?
No, I enjoy it, but I hate, it's not that I hate it, but I just find it really hard to teach it. Like, not to sound pretentious or something, but like I sit down on my computer and I know what I'm going to write. I don't know how I'm going to explain it. I don't know what's going on, but I just know kind of like, this is what I should put out today. So like when people ask me about it, it's really hard for me to be like, this is how you create content. You create a SWOT file or you create your pain points, because this is not how I do it. But I can't tell people to sit down and write. Bro, one time I had this fitness coach. Let me tell you this story, bro. I had this fitness coach and he was jacked and he would squat 500 pounds for like 10 reps or something, just a crazy dude. And one time I asked him, do you think I should bulk or I should cut? And he looks at me straight in the eye and he goes, bro, just be a beast. and like, you know, like in the beginning, I'm like, yeah, for sure. But then like I go more confused as time goes. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? So he's like, I mean, all respect to him. He's a great dude and he was a great coach, but I don't want to make people feel like, bro, just right. You know, it's like really hard. Like I don't want that to happen. How about you? When it comes to content, what's your answer? What do you hate or love the most?
I think it's weird because for me, and this has to do with personality types, like, and I don't want to speak for you, but I feel as though for you, content has come naturally to you because there is some sort of strategic or tactical benefit from it. And you are very good at doing things when you see the reasoning for it. Whereas for me, as an INFP and not an ISTP, I'm much more intuitive in feeling about it, and it's almost like it has to be like art, like an art. And for me now, it's harder for me to make content now that my business is more mature because it has to be more strategic, and I find it boring. Like for me, it's easier to write when it's like about stuff that's not even related to business. So it's an interesting.
Like, give me an example. Like, you come up to the screen, what happens? Like, how do you get blocked?
Like, for me right now, right, I'm procrastinating. I need to go and schedule a case study thread or long form, and maybe some sort of tactical or giveaway or something along those lines related to lead gen. When I sit down, I don't want to write that. I want to write about, like, how fucking doing the infinite money glitch on GTA taught me how to build a team in business. Like, that's what I enjoy writing about, but I know it's not the needle mover, and I'm very self-aware about that. And like, I could do both, but I'm like, my mind is like, top of mind, I need to do the most important task first. So I just get stuck and I'm like, it's so boring. Maybe I need a ghostwriter.
Maybe you need a what?
I think I need a ghostwriter.
Maybe you just need to be a beast, bro.
Yeah,
just be a beast. It's easy. I want to pick on one word that you did. You said like you said twice, must you do it? Do you have to do it? I mean, I don't think you do.
Like not particularly, but like I don't have to, but I do. I see it as a responsibility to my team to like do certain things. I think it's something to be said that not everyone has to be a content person. And I think like now, because we're in the creator economy, like everyone thinks they have to be a content person. Like I think you have to create content, but I don't think you have to be a content person. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the big guys and let's take like a Patrick Bet-David, like he's not sitting down making content. You know what I mean? He's got like a team around him to support him, right? You even said you have a team of 3. So I think it's just like having a team to support you where you lack is important for the whole content thing.
I think the reason why sometimes content feels like kind of hard for some people is that marketing, and I got this from James Kemp, but he's like, marketing is to a degree manipulative. You want to make people do something or change something about them. And when I think about that, it feels icky, the energy is off. But when I change my strategy, and you know how sometimes there's some platitudes that they're so basic, but they just hit you like so hard, and you're like, oh, so true, bestie. Like for me, man, it's like I hear some platitudes that are like, yeah, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I'm like, oh my God, facts, bro, so true. Yeah, or like it's every loss gets you closer to a win. I'm like, yeah, bro, preach, like you got this, yeah, girl. So there's one in content that I think about often, and for me, it's actually quite deep. I guess that's the equivalent of being a beast for him, but for me was show, don't tell. Like, you have done a lot of things in this week or even in this month. You changed the strategy. Like maybe, let's walk into through an example you even said on the podcast. Your content wasn't really hitting, and then you were like, your competition or your friends were tripping, but then you told everyone, hold on, let's just stick to the goddamn plan because it's going to work, right? You said it, you created it. So you could even write a post on that. Last week, transparency time, because people love that word or that phrase, my content wasn't hit. And I was stressed because my clients were not getting the results I promised them. And I felt wrong. But then when my team was tripping and my friends were tripping, I made the executive decision to just stick to the plan. Engagement is up and down, but eventually it will go up. So now maybe sometimes you don't need to change everything. Maybe you just need to stick to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals, interesting word, because that's exactly what we focus on at the Birdhouse. The fundamentals, the things that don't change. Creating constant stuff in a sea of changing algorithms, because we know that algorithms change, but humans don't. Hire us. I'm your ghostwriter now.
I'm gonna once this comes out, I'm just gonna transcribe that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like we're just talking about things you've already done. Yeah. So when you show, don't tell, it feels so much less manipulative, and it's so much cooler. Also, it cannot be in anybody else's feed. It can only be on the Marco's feed, and that by itself is such an unfair advantage. So maybe you say you're maybe not a content guy, bro. You create content for a living. What the fuck do you mean you're not a content guy?
Yeah, I'm a content guy for other people because I'm more passionate about their businesses than I am like writing content for an agency is not the same, or it's not as fun. I should say it is the same, but it's not as fun as writing content for like an education. Like I'd rather write content for you than I would for me, because for you,
Really?
I get to play with different angles and I get to help all these, like you have so many different customer profiles, which is fun to me. Whereas for me, it's like very much the same customer profile over and over and over and over and over. So like, that's what I think of when I think of it. I'm like, for you, I could target the stylist or the fitness guy or the IG coach or the fucking speech coach or the language coach. And I can just go crazy with angles. But my angles are a little bit boring because I'm just looking for like the 20 people who have like the same kind of business. It's just like, you know what I mean?
Don't you think that's more of a grass is greener on the other side? Because being honest, I've always wanted to do e-commerce. I think me doing online stuff is cool, but man, having a physical thing bro, it's like the Kill Crew guys, like having people wear your message and your brand. I think that's beautiful, and I think that's really cool.
All right.
So I've always wanted to do ecom. But then an ecom dude messaged me, bro, I really want to do coaching. I'm like, oh, okay. But then somebody else messaged me, man, I really want to do SaaS. So grass is always greener, man. It's like, maybe, once you get off your jet lag, get a dopamine detox day and get back on the train. I think you're a great writer.
Don't get me wrong. The Birdhouse is going to do $1 billion in revenue 1 year.
Is that your goal? Like actually building a huge
the
company?
goal. Yes, that's the goal, is to build a huge company that does a lot of impact, more than just like 10 clients and 20 clients. Like I want 100. I like Ogilvy's. Do you know Ogilvy?
Of course.
That was disrespectful. I'm sorry.
I really like his stuff.
Ogilvy's agency called Ogilvy does like $5 billion a year in revenue. It's like, and he's not even a top 5 agency in the world. It's insane.
You think you'd be able to, like, I'm sure, I mean, you can do it. Do you want to do it?
I want to, so I guess that remains to be seen. Right? I have to hit like 10 million before I can see ahead to 100. I have to hit 100 before I could see $1 billion. But like, I love, when I look at like Gary Vee, his business is not that big. It's about 100 million a year, right? Just according to the internet. It could be more. That's only the VaynerMedia, so only the marketing side. And I love seeing him just like go to the office in Singapore and just like talk to like 100 people that just like work for him that he's never met. And I think it's like kind of cool in a sense, because it's like it's like, I don't want to sound wrong. It's like spreading his seed.
Remember that one time we had a guest and we're like, hey, welcome to the threesome at the Lex and Cash podcast.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I would have an office for sure. I don't know if I'd go that big, but like that remains to be seen. I guess you just take it year by year and play it. But I definitely want to get a lot bigger and I think it'll be fun if it's done right. But if there's any point I'm like, this sucks, I would just stop. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever? Yeah. I know you definitely have, but like when you get a little bit big and you're like, well, this kind of sucks. I think I'm just gonna like not do that. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? But I won't. Yeah, I don't know what I don't know.
So like, yeah, there's this graph. I don't know if we can put it up or you guys can look it up. It's called informed simplicity. So in the beginning, you just want simplicity. Then you complicate things, and then you realize simplicity is everything you needed. It's kind of the equivalent of the bell curve meme. So in the beginning, it's just, I don't want a business. I just want a business that allows me to live my life. And then in the middle, you're like, at least this is my personal experience. I'm not saying this for you, right? But for me, in the middle, I was like, no, I want to build a $100 million business and be huge and have this like massive impact. But then I realized that was really complex and I said, fuck it. I want to build a lifestyle business. So I moved on to informed simplicity, which is the same thing as before. I just want to build a business that allows me to live my life. But you have to get there to understand why. Like, you have to get the money to understand that you don't need the money. You have to get the girls to understand that you don't need the girls. You have to get like the ripped body to understand that maybe you don't want to be ripped all the time, right? Or maybe you do. Or maybe I'm just not there yet. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say. I said like, no, I don't want to build a huge business anymore because it was really bad. Like there was a time where I was like extremely stressed all the time. And I thought maybe this is not it. So I realized that for me at that moment, growing my business was the wrong choice. And we scaled back and it's actually quite nice.
Well, you know what I think, and I actually like, I mean, you look at everyone's business differently, but for your business specifically, I think it's really cool, like the way it's set up. And I think you have I could tell you're a lot happier because you text me.
Is that what you tell your girl? Like, hey girl, I can see that you're happier.
You sending me once. Wait, you know what I love about what you're doing right now is that your brand is just like growing. Like your Instagram's just growing, your LinkedIn's growing, your YouTube's growing, podcast growing. Like everything's growing, but you don't have to just because you're growing doesn't mean the business needs to grow with it. Do you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing that people think is like, just because you're growing doesn't mean the business needs to grow at the exact proportional rate. Like you could maintain $1 million business and then also 10x your personal brand without also 10xing the business, because you just don't, if you don't need to, you don't need to. You know what I mean? That's and like you're also getting basically 10x that goodwill, and like you can unleash it later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have the option. And Ryan actually wrote this thing. So Ryan's my business partner. We actually met for the first time here in Poland after doing business for a year. We made we made 7 figures together, and we've never met, but we met here. And something I do is, because Ryan's account is small, but he's a good writer. Sometimes he'll post case studies, and my content strategy is copy pasting and sending. That's my whole strategy. It's not stealing if it's from your business partner.
Sure.
So that's what I do. Yeah. So he has a really good case study from this guy that it wasn't even a monetary case study. You know, some case studies, even if you're in the wealth niche, don't need to be monetary. A lot of them are emotional. It was about, he came up to us. He's like, I want to build an appointment setting team. He's like, why? Because I see everyone doing it, and I think that's the next step for you. He's like, do you really want to do that? Or do you want to build something else? Like, maybe something else. And the email went on saying, we build the business we're told, not the one we want. We need a setter, check. We need a sales team, check. We need a sales manager, check. We need projections and a huge complex team and a customer success manager, check. And we never really stop and think, what is the business we want? Like, what is the business we actually want? And we realized that a lot of the time we just end up building stuff because somebody else told us. Just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean you're not acting in an NPC way. And a lot of entrepreneurs, me included, act like NPCs very often. And we never stop to think, is this the thing I should be doing?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, man. All right, what you got on the Notion? Let's check it out. Genghis Khan invented incentives.
So I've been listening to, and this is like kind of goes into what we were saying before, but I've been listening to, I don't know if you've heard of How to Take Over the World, the podcast.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to How to Take Over the World. I listened to Genghis Khan, Leonardo da Vinci, and now I'm listening to Walt Disney. And in the Genghis Khan one, they were talking about, and I was thinking about incentives, and I was thinking, they were talking about Genghis Khan and the way he revolutionized being a general, or being a, whatever you would call it, conqueror, is instead of going, it's so distracting. Instead of just going in and taking.
What's distracting? Me putting stuff in my mouth is distracting to you?
If you're listening, you have no idea what just unfolded.
Yeah. Which means you should subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Hit that button. Genghis Khan.
Yeah. So Genghis Khan would go and conquer, entire villages, entire nations. But the way he changed the whole conquering scene versus the other Khan of Mongolia is when he went, he wouldn't just tell his army to go in and just pillage and destroy and take everything they want. He would go in, have them pillage, destroy everything, and collect everything, bring it to him, and then he would redistribute the fruits of their labor based on merit. So he would say, who performed the best? Who had the most killings? Who took the most children? Who lit the most houses on fire? And he would basically have like a leaderboard. And if you were the best, you would get the most of the rewards. You would get the most sheep. You get the most lumber. You get the most money. You get the most women. It was insane. So he basically invented incentives, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, okay.
It was insane. I thought about it, and I'm like, that's basically how people run a sales team, a content team, whatever. You just you can base everything on incentives. That's how I run my team. So I thought it was crazy.
That's a good one, to be reading autobiographies. Like, I think we covered this together. It's like, we read biographies and autobiographies, but with like business books that just tell you advice. We're illiterate. We do not read that. And it's like so boring. We covered this. Yeah? What time?
I'm actually paralyzed if I open a book that's not. If I open a book that's just like business related, I'm like, I fall asleep immediately.
Yeah, me too. The only way is if it's written like Atomic Habits, like it's written in a tweet format. Like you're essentially reading James Clear's tweets if you read Atomic Habits.
What's funny is what I learned over the weekend, and this really just reinforces what we already do. Leonardo da Vinci, talked about how he's like, why would I read books when I could go straight to the source, experience? So he's like, he would actually just experiment and experience things and like go and see for himself. He's like, why would I read a book on water? I could just go look at the water. Like, it's so smart, but like,
That's so based.
that's so
Holy shit.
no, he's like, so, you know, he actually dissected 20 human bodies, and he's actually one of the godfathers of anatomy. He actually used to dissect dead bodies to figure out how muscles were inlet into the body so that he could draw a better man. It was insane. And he actually had a competition with another artist, Michelangelo, and he blew him out of the water. Like, Michelangelo was an elite sculptor, and at the time when they went up against each other, Michelangelo wasn't as great a painter, and it was just insane. And Leonardo is like, he's notorious for being an experimenter. He started reading books later in his life, but you know, his first 20, 30 years, it was just like, he would just go to he's like, I could just go to the source. And I think it's like that for business for us right now. You know, we're young, and like, obviously we're going to read more different kinds of books when we're older. Like, Warren Buffett reads a book a day. But I think in the season that we're both in, we're both just like, I want to read about the goats who have like a lifetime of knowledge, and then we just learn business by experience. It's kind of like that right now.
We just become beasts. Quite simply, bro.
Just be a beast.
Be a beast. Easy. Okay, I want to talk on this because I like it, and I know Ryan's a geek on this. Like, Ryan is the old dude I'm business partners with. So what he does with his mornings is he sits down and he reads books about the Third Reich and Nazi Germany. That's Ryan's definition of having a good time.
Nice.
So for the people who also like reading about history, what's another lesson in history or another figure in history? I don't know if that translates well, but somebody in history that you've learned something that's kind of interesting with, or a story about that.
Yeah. So one that I think of is Steve Jobs, and it's kind of Elon Musk, but Steve Jobs, he was just like, he was so cruel to people like in his immediate business circle. Like, if you had a bad idea, and I actually think, you're not cruel, but you are blunt, right? And have we brought this up already? But I'll say it again for the context of this pod.
Sure.
I think JK is very blunt, and I think it's a superpower, because when they talk about, and I've read about Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and many others, they talk about how blunt they were, and what it does is it basically makes your feedback loop 10 times faster. Instead of just beating around the bush and waiting and delaying things, if Steve Jobs, if you gave him a stupid idea, he'd be like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He would say that. Same with Elon. He'd be like, that was dumb. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and it would basically, makes your feedback loop so much faster when you're that blunt and direct, and you just like get to the point and you move on. And I thought that was interesting about number two, and I thought this would be interesting, which is completely unrelated. Steve Jobs, Leonardo da Vinci, Napoleon, they all had distinctive ways of dressing, and they thought that they had to dress a certain way, or Leonardo da Vinci did, to stand out. So Leonardo da Vinci would wear long tunics that cut off at the knee, and they were always in bright colors. And Steve Jobs used to always wear a turtleneck, and I forget what Napoleon used to wear, but these guys all had distinctive ways of dressing that made them stand out, and I thought it was interesting, and I don't know why, so I think we got to start doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you know that Napoleon, there were some days that Napoleon thought like having dinner or lunch was kind of a waste of time, like eating was a waste of time. So some days he would just drink milk. That's all he did. Yeah. Yeah. He was the original return to tradition Twitter guru. You know, he was the OG of that. People talk about Caesar, they don't talk about Napoleon, you know. Okay, well, I was going to say something interesting on style is a big component. You know, when I came here, I dress like a 12-year-old. I just like wear the same shirts, wear a hoodie, call it a day. And Ryan comes in, he's dressing in like this cardigan and shit, and like this blazer and this winter coat. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of out of place. So he's like, okay, we're buying some clothes. I don't like to admit it because I like practical stuff, but dude, like dressing well is a really good advantage offline. Like people really do notice that.
Come to the dark side, JK.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, this is what we in the business call character development, guys. It's changing now. We're admitting our mistakes.
This is your Shibuya arc.
Yeah, this, this is how we change stuff. But yeah, on the point about being blunt, the something I love, and this is not good, but when people reaffirm my opinions, even though they're not completely right, I love it. I know they're sometimes not the best, but I love it. One time I heard Sam Parr said this on a pod. It's like, I have a new rule. If somebody's a loser, I just assume they're going to die a loser. And if somebody's a winner, I just assume they're going to die a winner. And I thought I was a dick for thinking that. Now, I may, but it's so effective. It's so nice. Like, if somebody's a loser, just assume they're going to be like that and just don't try to change them. Like, the energy you gain from that is so nice. And when you bet on winners, like, they may lose now, but eventually they really start winning. So I actually got more judging. I did this with my friends and my family. I asked them, and this was kind of hard at the moment. So I'm like, I don't know if I should do this. Quinn, if this is too inappropriate, you can cut it. But I asked them, hey guys, do you think money changed me? And me, deep down, I wanted them to say, of course not, JK. You've always been the sweet little soul that you've always been. So, bro, like, it was a unanimous yes. Unanimous. Everybody was like, of course. I'm like, damn, like, how did it change me? So they said two things. So number one is you got more ruthless. You got more judgmental. As in, like, if somebody, like, just is not, like, you don't see use or, like, any sort of purpose to have them in your life, you used to keep them around. Now you don't. You just stop. And the second one is you got way more racist. This is a quote from my family, though. It's not me. So do I get canceled for this?
I don't know.
Welcome to the Light and Cash Pod.
Your CEO, Ryan. You could leave.
Yeah. You can bleep it if you want. For the OGs listening to the pod for a while, you know exactly what I said. But yeah, so that's what they said. So back to you. Did money change you?
You know what's funny is, like, I haven't asked my friends or my family, but I don't think it has. But I think it's because I'm scared for it too. But I think I should let it. I think I should let it change me more than I do. I think I actively try not to, but I think it holds me back sometimes. It's like I find myself muting different habits that I'd like to have, like being judgmental. But at the moment, I just feel I, like, never want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I think that's my problem, is I never want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I always just, like, don't let it. I don't know. Maybe I'd love to see what people think in the comments. Should you be, like, more vocal about, like, because you basically what you're saying, to, for lack of a better word, is you have more boundaries. And I think I don't have boundaries sometimes, and I think I should. And when I say boundaries, it's like letting in kind of like darker, poorer energy around. It's like when you let that energy in, you let people verbalize, like, basically, like, brokey mindset. Like, it's pretty much it. Like, it's just like when you let it in enough times, you start to absorb it. And I think it's tough because everyone listening is around it all the time. So, like, unless you actively repent the actual energy, you're gonna let it in. You're gonna absorb it through osmosis. And at the end of the day, this is kind of why I'm moving to Miami. Is to have basically a higher level of osmosis. I know you're. JK's osmosis is basically just Polish coffee. So
it's because I got everything I want here, bro. Like, I love Poland. It's so nice. The culture, the architecture, the vibes. You know what I find funny? Every time I mention something about New York City, there cannot pass 5 minutes without someone saying, it's the energy, bro. It's just the energy in New York. It's just different.
Listen, have you been?
I see. We're talking to a New Yorker now.
Have you been?
I have been to New York.
When?
March 2021 or 2.
That doesn't count. Let's go there with your newfound wealth, and let's see.
What? No. I was making some money.
Listen, I am.
Was the energy different, Marcos?
Summers in New York, like if you go to New York in the summer, it's incredible. But if you go like the other 9 months, it's not great.
What is incredible?
The energy.
Oh, it's like, it's like location veganism. Like vegans need to tell you they're vegan. You need to say that the energy in New York is different. It's like,
Just something's in the air.
yeah, you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it. You're just in the trenches.
I wanted to ask about your business partner, because I have massive amounts of FOMO of people with business partners, because I just feel like I always want to have a business partner, because I feel like the big benefit of it is having someone that does the things you don't want to do, and like they actively are good at and want to do certain things, and you actively are good at and want to do other things, and it's like a perfect yin and yang. And this is just like might be grass is greener. I always think to myself, I'm like, I hate having to do the things that I'm not good at because I don't have a business partner. How do you feel about that?
I think because I've run businesses solo and I've done it with a business partner. And when it comes to business partners, I learned 3 lessons that are important. The first one I learned is, do you even need it? Right? Some things you're just emotional in the moment of making them. There was a competitor on Twitter, I'm not going to say their name, but for a very long time, like I was really emotional and I thought maybe I should just join them, because I was like, they're just better than me. I could just be there. So like, do you need them is number one. With Tweet Hunter, for example, it was a software company. I needed it because they started the thing and I can't program, so I needed it. With this one is I started solo actually, and I meant to own 100% of it. But when we got to like 5-10 clients, I thought this is hard. So do you even need it? And the second one you want to be very careful of is, I think that if you get a business partner, it has to be, you cannot have too many cooks in the kitchen. So full honesty, full disclosure, we've talked about this. Inside Tweet Hunter, there were too many cooks in the kitchen. There were 2 marketing guys, me and some other dude. And, we disagreed on many things. So it made us slow in a way, because I wanted to do one thing, he wanted to do another. It made us really slow. So if you're going to get someone, like, there's got to be like really, really clear boundaries. Like you have to be at the end of the day, you can disagree on this, but the call is mine. And at the end of the day, I can disagree on that, but that call is yours. And you have to stick to whatever is chosen. And the third one is they just have to be, I value a lot the directness and getting the bad stuff out of the way. When I partner up with my business partner, first thing I told them after, yo, you wanna marry me? After the first thing I told them was, here are the reasons, here's the bad feedback that my previous partnerships gave. I can be reckless, I can get emotional, and I can like sometimes go too fast. And I asked them, is that okay with you? Like, okay. So it's almost like you want to sell them on not partnering up with you. And if that process is over, then, and you can get through that, then I think it is worth it. So those are the kind of the 3 criteria. Do you need them? Don't have too many cooks in the kitchen, and just get all the bad stuff out of the way early. Those are my advice if you want it.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I personally feel not definitely, but I personally feel that I'm too far in to ever get a partner anyway without like the equity is worth too much. You know what I mean? We're not at 0. So, but I do still think about it. I'm like, at this point, it's like it would just be a hire. It wouldn't be a business partner.
Did you have one already? Like
more like a
Instagram guy.
More like a mentor than a.
Oh, okay.
More like a mentor, but like for me, I wouldn't be able to bring on a partner right now. But like I do think about like I love like branding, vision, I actually enjoy operations, which is crazy. I never thought I would. I really don't like marketing for the agency, and I really don't like a couple other things. And I'm like, I know you do. You're basically the CMO, right?
Yeah, I'm basically a CMO. Well, shifting gears on this. How do you manage a relationship with a mentor? Sometimes I feel like I'm bothering them. Like I don't want to ask stuff, but then it's like That's why you have a mentor, because they can mentor you. So like, how do you handle that relationship?
Yeah. I try to make it like, whoa, did it cut out?
I know, I was just
You
sneezing.
okay. Anyways, I tried to make it very high level, and my mentor is very blunt with me if I'm not being high level. So if I start saying things that are like kind of like low level mindset or just
Can you give me an example?
like I remember once I said I basically said that, oh, I don't even need to, like, I don't really need to market because I get inbound and referrals. And he was like, what? Like, you always market. Like, you never stop. Like, and I thought about that and I was like when he says things like that, he's like actively trying to make me feel stupid in a good way. Like, I need it. So that was something.
What's the cadence like of that interaction? Do you talk weekly or monthly or text or
Like, no, like probably like every other day.
text?
Yeah, every other day through text, and then we talk on a weekly basis on a call, basically like an advisor call. So it's a good it's really helpful.
You know what?
Kind of like a therapist. Like a therapist.
It's people don't like, they pay for coaching, and they never ask for coaching. Like I realized it myself. I joined a coaching program, and I was struggling with a bunch of problems. But I'm like, isn't this why I hired a coach? Should I just not ask him? So sometimes the answer is just that simple. Like, pay someone and ask them to help you out. And I realized that. So I'm like, I'm having this trouble, and it's kind of annoying. So I asked him. He gave me my answer. I'm like, great, done. That's it. But I had to pay to get that access. I don't think it's. I don't know. Free mentors is like, okay, I'd rather just pay because it's just easier for me to have that transaction invalidated like that.
I saw I subscribed to Andrew Wilkinson on Twitter, and he posted, he goes, I don't really sell my time, but I know a lot of you want me to. So here's a link, and I made it really expensive on purpose. And you click the Calendly, and it's $10,000 for an hour. That's so smart. It was just hilarious. I was just like, I know somebody bought this.
I mean, he's a billionaire, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not $10,000 for an hour with a billionaire.
I mean, if it was like, yeah, exactly. Which is crazy. I'm like, how much for what an hour of Elon Musk's time costs? So if you multiply $1 billion times 200, so 200,000 an hour. I feel like even that's too low.
Yeah, I sell mine for $5,000 an hour. Has someone bought it? No, but I still have it at that point.
I'm at $1,000 an hour. And
They have bought it?
Anytime.
Nice.
Like 6 times.
Yeah. Dude, not bad.
Oh yeah, it's because you know why? Because I know that when I get on that call, I won't hold anything back, and I'll leak a lot of secrets. And I'm like, I need to have up a number where I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it. I think
Do you not feel kind of awkward sometimes? Because I'm like, what if I pay and it's not worth it? And I'll just say stupid shit.
It's worth it. It's always worth it. I make it worth it. I spit game on consulting calls. This is not don't book, because I don't even have a link. I don't have a link.
Well, Marcos, you know what someone can do if they want to buy some of your time, but they don't want to pay? They should just listen to the Likes and Cash podcast. They should just subscribe, hit the like button, share it with their friends. Honestly, because it does help the algorithm, guys.
Comment the number 1 if you think JK should switch the logo to the anime cover that he had way back when. Remember with you with the ninja headband?
But you're not in that logo though. So what's the point?
I still think it's a better logo.
Yeah, I guess so. We should have like a K-pop style logo. You and I, we're a boy band, and we're just dressed the same. We have like pink hair or some shit, or like yellow hair.
If we're gonna have any Asian style logo, it's gonna be anime, and it's gonna be JJK. And it's gonna be like Gojo and Utah.
Yeah. I'm down.
It's the only one. You're Gojo. You're Seal.
Never. Thank you, bro. Bro, you're spoiling this thing for everybody. Well, I am.
I'm assuming nobody here. Everybody here is either caught up or doesn't watch. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, we're at minute 54, and we're both like, I'm really tired, and you're jet lagged, right? Because you came from Bali. How's it?
We have bags.
What?
We have bags under our eyes.
Yeah, that's right. We also have money bags, yo. Let's go. So real quick, what are some culture shocks that you forgot about once you got to America? You're like, oh, right, this is a thing.
It's a good question. First day I got back, we went to a Starbucks drive-thru, and we were like trying to give our order, and the lady spoke so fast. We were like, can we get like a venti, large latte, or a venti latte, whatever. She's like, oh, yep, any latte, anything else? Like, what the fuck? I was like, holy shit, that was fast. And in Bali, I was so conditioned, everything was very slow and intimate. Like, you couldn't get the check unless you're going to have to throw something at the waitress to get your check. Like, every time you order, they repeat it back. Like, it was so slow in Bali. And I got to New York, and it was lightning fast. Like, I felt like they were getting mad at us. So that was the main culture shock. And then also, it's just so dry. Like, the air here, my knees are ashy here. It's so dry.
Oh, you're like... the thing is right, not the people.
No,
the country.
The air is dry in New England, and so.
Oh well, there you go. One thing that came here in Poland is I love this, bro. As an introvert, you never had to you never need to say hi to anyone. In Latin America, good morning, how's it going? How's your dog? Things you don't really care about. But here it's like nobody talks, and it's so nice. Like you can just walk around like that. So that's one thing. We cannot end it on being antisocial or something. So what is one thing you learned that's cool this week?
I learned, and I'm going to keep it on the Da Vinci theme because he was the highlight of my week. He said, and I have the quote written down, which is perfect. I'm going to have to paraphrase. It was essentially, men of lofty genius spend little of their time working and most of their time thinking. And I thought that was interesting.
That's some hard shit. Now that I'm traveling, I'm in the OPAD diet, 1 post a day diet. And I spend a lot of my time thinking about what I'm going to talk about. LinkedIn's actually been better for me than Twitter. And I have 200,000 on Twitter. I have like 10,000 LinkedIn. Engagement's better there, as well as on Instagram. When you travel a lot, you get really good experiences. There's a reason why writers, Hemingway, he hunted. Bukowski was an alcoholic. A lot of them were just like fighters. Like, you do interesting stuff. James Camp also had this really cool one. He said, how are you selling lifestyle content, but your lifestyle or your content, it's all about you being on a chair with a very expensive mic inside a room, and you're never out. You're never doing things. So actually, the cool thing about like the business we run, it's not that the less you work, the more you make, because that's not true. But the more you rest, the better ideas you have to make the money. So now resting is an important part of my day. And if anybody here is like burnout or like they don't have any content ideas, maybe you should try less. Maybe you should not try. And that's how you come up with the good stuff. Just be a beast.
I like it. Cheers.
All right. That was the plot.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.